All right, everybody, gathering close. Come on, don't be shy. Welcome to the very edge of the spectacular, the one and only Niagara Falls. Now, I'm going to be your guide for this little trip back in time, and trust me, you're here for more than just the view. We're about to dive into the absolutely incredible story of a modern-day legend, a man who looked at all this thundering water and thought, yeah, I can take that on.
So I want you to picture this for a second. A guy has just been hauled out of that churning, freezing water right down there. He's beaten up, exhausted, but he's alive. And as the news cameras rush in, he looks right at them and says, I won't be back here anymore. Now, what in the world brings a person to that exact moment? Well, let's get into his story and find out.
You know, every single minute, millions and millions of gallons of water crash over these falls, smashing onto a bed of jagged rocks below. It is just a stunning display of raw, unforgiving power. So you gotta ask yourself, what kind of person looks at that and thinks, you know what? I'm gonna go over that in a barrel.
And let's be crystal clear. Taking on the falls is a deadly serious game. Before our guy comes along, 14 people had tried it. And as you can see, only 10 of them actually lived to tell the tale. Those are not exactly great odds, right? It takes a very, very specific kind of person to look at those numbers and say, yeah, I'll take that chance.
And that person was Steve Trotter. Now, he wasn't some world-famous stunt performer or a millionaire with a fancy engineering team. Nope, he was a part-time bartender from Barrington, Rhode Island. Just a regular guy with one of the most unbelievable, and some would definitely say craziest ambitions you could possibly dream up. Now, you'd think this story would start with a huge, flashy success, but it actually starts with a bit of a failure. His first try back in '84? Yeah, his barrel got stuck on the rocks upriver. But was he gonna let that stop him? Oh, no way. He came right back the very next year, a young guy completely determined to conquer these falls.
And get this, in 1985 he was just 22 years old. When he finally made it over, he became the youngest person to ever survive the plunge inside a barrel. Can you just imagine that? Being 22 and having that on your life's resume?
And what he did it in, it's classic. It wasn't some high-tech space capsule. His ride was made from 2 plastic pickle barrels. Yeah, pickle barrels, stuck together, reinforced with a bit of fiberglass and wood, and then wrapped in big old truck tire inner tubes to cushion the blow. It's like the ultimate piece of backyard engineering, built to take on one of the most dangerous stunts in the world.
So what was it actually like to go over? Well, in his own words, it was like the best roller coaster ride you had as a 10-year-old. And that right there, that tells you everything you need to know about Steve Trotter. No fear, no second thoughts, just the pure, unfiltered thrill of the ride.
And after that, man, he blew up. He was on Good Morning America, he was on The Tonight Show chatting with Johnny Carson, he even got a feature in Time magazine. And for a little while there, Mademoiselle magazine even named him one of the 10 sexiest men in the world. The bartender from Rhode Island was suddenly a star. But, you know, for a guy like Steve Trotter, once was just never going to be enough. So, 10 years later, on the anniversary of his first plunge, he decided to come back. And this time, he wasn't doing it alone. He was raising the stakes in every single way you can imagine.
I mean, just look at the difference here. He had a partner, Lori Martin, in the barrel with him this time. The barrel itself was a 900-pound monster made from welded-together water heaters and coated in Kevlar. And the cost? It jumped from about $6,000 to a staggering $90,000. Everything about this second go-around was bigger, heavier, and a whole lot more dangerous.
So on June 18, 1995, they put it in the water. Can you even imagine what it felt like inside that thing as the current just grabbed it and took off? He'd done it before, sure, but this time he was responsible for somebody else's life as they flew toward the edge of the Horseshoe Falls.
Well, this time, things went sideways. They survived the plunge, but the barrel got wedged in the rocks at the bottom. And inside, their oxygen supply, which was only good for about an hour, was ticking down minute by minute. Emergency crews had to stage this absolutely harrowing rescue, literally climbing over the railings to get a line on the barrel and pull them out. One of the rescuers on the scene just laid it out plain and simple. The situation was completely desperate. He said, "There's no other way to do it. They don't have any air left." It was a true life-or-death moment, not just for them, but for the brave men and women who risked it all to save them. So they survived. They actually became only the second duo to ever go over the falls together and live to talk about it. But that rush of survival, it was very quickly followed by the harsh, cold slap of reality. Yeah, survival came with a pretty hefty price tag. He suffered a compression fracture in his back, he got slapped with a fine of nearly $15,000 and was sentenced to 2 weeks in jail. And on top of all that, there was a huge public backlash this time.
This quote from someone who was watching that day really sums up the other side of the coin. People were furious that rescuers had to risk their own necks to save them from what a lot of folks just saw as a foolish stunt. And that's a really powerful point, isn't it? Where does your own ambition cross the line and start endangering other people?
And, this kind of became a pattern. He kept doing other stunts, like a disastrous attempt at a massive Tarzan swing from the Sunshine Skyway Bridge in '97. The cable snapped, and his friends, including Lori Martin again, were badly hurt. That need for a thrill, it had very real, very painful consequences.
But a person's life is so much more than just a highlight reel of their stunts, right? The whole Daredevil thing, that was just one side of Steve Trotter. The people who actually knew him, well, they paint a totally different and much richer picture of the guy.
His friends and family, they remember him as a born storyteller with this infectious love for life. They actually called him Walking Sunshine, said he was generous to a fault, a guy who could light up a room and who was deeply loved by the people around him. The man inside the barrel was a whole lot more complex than the stunt itself.
So when you look back, you see this incredible arc to his life, from that crazy first plunge in '85 to the even crazier encore 10 years later, the other disastrous stunts that followed, and then his unexpected passing in 2022 when he was just 61. He truly lived a life right on the absolute edge.
And his legacy, in a very real, tangible way, is still right here with us at the Falls. That 900-pound barrel from his 1995 stunt, you can go see it with your own 2 eyes. It's kept safe in the Niagara Daredevil exhibit, a permanent piece of the incredible history of this place.
So as you stand here looking out at all this power, that's the question I'm going to leave you with. Was Steve Trotter just a reckless guy chasing a thrill, putting himself and others in danger for a moment in the spotlight? Or was he an audacious legend, someone with this incredible zest for life who just refused to be ordinary? Maybe the truth is he was a little bit of both. But whatever you decide, his story is now woven into the history of Niagara Falls forever. A bartender from Rhode Island who took on this natural wonder not once, but twice, and against all odds, lived to tell the tale. Thanks for listening, everyone. Please enjoy the rest of your amazing day here at the Falls.